I'm fashioning the following sentence, and here's your sentence. I'm sentencing you to 30 months felony probation, and the probation is going to be to this court. You're going to be allowed to travel wherever you want. You do not have to live in the state of Illinois. You can report by phone. I know that if you're going to try to make a living and do some of the things you do, you may have to go to other places, New York and Los Angeles. You can do those things. You will pay restitution to the city of Chicago in the amount of $120,106. You are fined $25,000, which is the maximum fine, and you will spend the first 150 days of your sentence in the Cook County Jail, and that will start today, right here, right now. Mr. Smollett, though the jury found you guilty and I've sentenced you as I have, you have the right to appeal the findings and rulings of the court or ask your sentence be modified. To do those things, you need to file a notice of appeal in writing within 30 days. You may also file a motion to modify your sentence, which would have to be filed in writing within 30 days. Anything not stated in those filings are waived for purposes of appeal. You cannot afford lawyers or transcripts. They would be provided free of charge. Do you have any questions?
No, I would just like to say to Your Honor that I am not suicidal. That's what I would like to say.
Okay.
I am not suicidal.
Okay.
I am not suicidal. I am innocent, and I am not suicidal. If I did this, then it means that I stuck my fist in the fears of Black Americans in this country for over 400 years and the fears of the LGBTQ community. Your Honor, I respect you and I respect the jury, but I did not do this. And I am not suicidal. And if anything happens to me when I go in there, I did not do it to myself. And you must all know that. I respect you, Your Honor. I respect your decision. Jail time. I am not suicidal.
Welcome back, guys. I trust you've been staying safe. Actor Jussie Smollett is in deep-ish because as of 2 days ago, the special prosecutor has asked Jussie Smollett to return back to jail after his appeal against his jail sentence was, unfortunately for him, denied. Now, the appeals court upheld the disorderly conduct convictions that had been leveled against actor Jussie Smollett, who was accused of staging a racist, homophobic attack against himself in 2019 and then lying about it to the Chicago police. I watched Empire. I don't know if you've seen that TV series. It's one of my all-time favorites, actually, and Jussie Smollett is one of the actors that I really enjoyed seeing in that TV series. But unfortunately, this case came up, and if you noticed, he was actually written out of the 5th and 6th episode after this case came up. And since then, his acting career seems to be on the decline. And I'm sure if that's the case, it would be as a result of this issue. Now, Jussie Smollett actually challenged the role of a special prosecutor, the jury selection, evidence, and many other aspects of the case when it came up. But unfortunately for him, all were turned down aside in a 2-1 opinion from the Illinois Appellate Court. Smollett had actually reported to police that he was the victim of a racist and homophobic attack by 2 men wearing ski masks. And I remember when this case came up because it really dominated the news. I'm in Ghana, West Africa, but we got this news and I was like, oh my God, what is going on here? Because this didn't seem like something that some people should be perpetrating against another person by virtue of their preference. And not to talk of just any person, but Jussie Smollett. So I took an interest in this case and I was following. So after Jussie Smollett made this report to the police, a manhunt for his attackers ensued, and it would soon turn out that Jussie Smollett, per investigation, had actually been leading and orchestrating this whole attack on himself. At least that is what the findings are saying. And according to the findings, authorities are saying that Jussie Smollett paid 2 men whom he knew from work on the Empire TV series. So fast forward, a jury convicted Smollett in 2021 on 5 felony counts of disorderly conduct, a charge that could be filed in Illinois when a person lies to the police. Now, as a result, he was actually sentenced to 150 days when he appeared in court. But then he ended up serving just 6 days and he was released, after which he filed an appeal. But unfortunately, as of 2 days ago, he has also lost this appeal, and as a result, Jussie Smollett will now have to go back to jail and finish his 150 days in jail, because that was actually part of his original sentence. Now, in a statement, a spokesperson for Jussie Smollett said that they plan to fight the decision. This spokesperson indicated that they wish to highlight that the decision was divided. And yeah, it was a 2-1 decision, but ultimately it went against Jussie Smollett. So if we are looking at the fact that out of the 3 judges, one of them sided with Jussie Smollett, then it looks like he has a chance of a sort. I don't know. But it looks like that is what his spokesperson is trying to say. This spokesperson went on to talk about the fact that they are preparing to escalate this matter to the Supreme Court, armed with a substantial body of evidence. Well, I don't know what other body of evidence they can prove which couldn't sort of stand in the appellate court, because if it's that substantial, then maybe it should have made an impact in the appellate court. But then again, this is the legal system we are talking about. Sometimes you can lose a case on appeal, but if you go to Supreme Court, you could actually get a win. So yeah, they should test the law. I'm all for that. Now, the special prosecutor assigned to the case is called Dan Webb, and he indicated in an interview hours after the court's decision that Smollett should go back and finish his 150-day jail sentence. And, he indicated also that this is pretty much the end of the road for Mr. Smollett. I'm quoting him, and he said that under Illinois law, Jussie Smollett had one right of appeal, and that is what he has actually exhausted today. The Illinois Appellate Court denied all his issues, and that Jussie Smollett can try to go up to the higher court and see what happens there also. Maybe it might turn out differently for him. Like I said, I'm all for testing the law. Now, that's a discretionary appeal that would be determined if the Illinois Supreme Court wants to hear his issue. But if that doesn't happen, then he is hit the end of the road and he would shortly be in jail. Now, however, the lawyers for Jussie Smollett, who is in a situation where, people who were so fond of him, people who were admiring him, some of them seem to have turned on him per how the whole story took a twist. And it's as though he's now a target for public ridicule and other unfortunate statements by people based on the fact that they actually believe that he staged this himself. It's also very unfortunate that even if he's guilty, people have realized they can just get away with saying anything about this person on the fact that he's actually accused of doing something. But I would advise that they bear in mind that in the eyes of the law, the person is innocent until actually proven guilty. He has been found guilty. Initially, he has appealed and failed. So, maybe to an extent, somebody would argue that, what else do you want to see from the court? He's actually guilty. But I'm still waiting to see if the Supreme Court will take this case up and how it will pan out if they do. Now, the moral of the story here, according to Webb, is that there are no two systems of justice. There is no system of justice for the rich and a separate system of justice for the poor. This judge went on to talk about the fact that everybody faces the same system of justice, and that is what Jussie Smollett is facing, irrespective of the fact that he's a rich, famous movie star and he is affluent and people know him. And according to Webb, the evidence was overwhelming, and that Jussie Smollett was actually convicted of all of 5 out of 6 counts. And he was sentenced to jail, and now he has had his day in court. Now, this is very emphatic. These statements are very emphatic, and it's coming from the judge who sat on the case. And I think that he knows what he's doing. He knows his left from his right. The brothers who are alleged to have partaken in this elaborate alleged plot by Jussie Smollett were also brought in. I'm actually putting together a whole video on the details of what happened in the original crime Jussie Smollett is charged of committing. And in that, you'd find the details as to how maybe it's likely this evidence is being deemed as overwhelming against Jussie Smollett, in the fact that he is actually suspected to have orchestrated all these things himself. This is very unfortunate for him, and if he does his 150 days, I hope everything will end there for him and that his career could actually bounce back, because these things have a way of taking away your shine, dimming your image, and sometimes to an extent knocking you off your perch as far as your stardom and your star rise was concerned. Because personally, I'm no expert, but I think that Jussie Smollett was on the rise because Empire was one of the dominant TV series at the time. Look at Taraji P. Henson. It was arguably one of the projects that she did which elevated her to the level she is at now. And I think Jussie Smollett would have enjoyed the same or similar feats if not for what transpired in this case. We wouldn't know for sure if I'm right or wrong because we didn't get there, because he was written out of season 5 and season 6 of the popular TV series. As it stands now, Jussie Smollett is in deep-ish, and I hope he will be able to find his way out. I hope the Supreme Court may consider his case and decide to take it on. And if they do, I'll be curious to see how it pans out, because he actually lost the appeal on a 2-1 judgment. So it means that at least there's one judge in a court who actually agrees with something that Jussie Smollett is trying to push across. Let's see how this case will play out. But unfortunately, as it stands now, if nothing changes, he will be spending 150 days in jail. My heart goes out to him and his loved ones. I hope he's able to find his feet, but I hope the law actually also continues working, because if he's guilty, that is causing fear and panic. That is creating a lot of problems, and at the age of 41, I think he should know better than to do that if he's actually culpable of what he's been accused and charged of doing. Until then, you know what to do. Just hit the subscribe button, turn on post notifications, leave your comments in the comment section, and I'll catch you on the next one.